Hi, my name's Charlie King. I'm with Heroic Fatherhood, and this is your Mentor's Moment. In today's question, a dad asks, why do old people die? This was the question I got from my son the other day. How do I answer it? Wow, this is a great question, and thanks so much for bringing it. This is really a conversation about change and impermanence, and these are really difficult concepts for especially young children to get their heads around, where they come to expect things just the way they are. Mom is always mom, dad is always dad, we've always lived in this house, Fluffy's always been our cat, and Sparky's always been our dog, Billy's always been my best friend, and Susie's my big sister. Those are like foundation pillars in the world for kids, and it's why they always talk about trying to create consistency and structure for kids is so important, because there are things in life that change that we don't have any control over, and it can be tough for kids to sort of pull it in. So we try and sort of limit the amount of change that they actually go through. And that's often what supports kids the best. Having a loved one die is incredibly difficult for everyone. It can be super difficult for us as parents and us as dads, as it is with kids. And I always put on my entrepreneur's hat when I'm looking about answering these questions, and I think it's hard for us as entrepreneurs as well. Whether something's been working for a long time and we've really come to count on it, and we keep doing it, and we suddenly notice it's no longer serving us anymore, it's not working. Do you notice you kind of keep doing it anyways? Like, I'm going to keep doing this because it's not giving me the thing that it was always used to, like it's not giving me the income or the traction or the way it makes me feel or the productivity that I was wanting. Oh darn, it's not working anymore. Change can be super hard. Impermanence as well. Oh, I was going to do that thing. I did it for a long time and now it's not successful anymore. Okay. Or I've been an entrepreneur for a long time and now I'm going to take contract work. Okay. So having a conversation about impermanence and change and death with your kids, that is a good question to jump into, and it's important that we actually have the conversation. Wherever your child's at, they would benefit from having your insight in this. Having a conversation about the richness of life and knowing and sharing with them, like, death is part of life. It just is. For as many babies are born in the world, people pass away at the end of their lives. And if we're lucky, they've lived full, rich lives that they get to be super grateful for. And sometimes life gets taken away and we don't get any say over it, and it can be super sad. So just acknowledging that it can be all those things at the same time. One thing that really serves me when I talk about who people were in the world is something I heard years ago, and I'm not sure where I heard it, but it's really served me, is people who have passed, who we loved, live again in the stories we tell about them. So when I tell stories about my dad, Grandpa John, or, and like who he was in the world for me, or some fun story about what we did together, or this funny time, or this crazy time, or we had this big fight, or this thing happened, or something I understood about my life or myself because of the way my dad was, if the richer I make that story, the more my dad feels alive to me, inside of me, and they live on inside the stories that I tell. So I try and tell as many stories as I can remember about who my dad was for me. And I can see my kids' eyes light up. They love hearing stories about who people were. And so this is a great way, if you've had someone pass in your life and you're trying to have this conversation with your child about passing away, the question, you can start to ask is like, what's your favorite memory about grandpa or grandma? Or what's your favorite memory about uncle? And have those conversations and bring them up intentionally. I remember this time we did this thing, or, Uncle Billy never liked mushrooms, and Grandma, Johnson always used to try and sneak them into his stew, and he would always catch them out, and they'd have this big fight over the table. But when we tell those stories, they live for us again. Life is impermanence. Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about the molecular makeup of our cells includes things that are only found in the universe, that are not natural to Earth, but they are found in the universe, and they are in the cells of every human being that's out there, which means we are of the stars, and that as energy is never wasted, no energy goes away, when we depart this mortal coil, when we leave, when we pass away, when we die, our energy is just transferred into the next thing. And nobody knows what that looks like. I got some great ideas because I'm super excited about wherever we go and whatever happens there. But knowing that they're still around and that they live again in the stories that we tell about them can give us a real chance to really reshare who they were for us and feel real gratitude and satisfaction and connection with them even after they've passed. Thanks so much for asking this question. It's an important question, and I'm super glad we got a chance to address it. That being said, if you have a question, send it to us. Put it in the comments below. We've loved your questions, and we will continue answering them here over at Heroic Fatherhood's Mentors Moment. And a question for you: how would you have addressed this dad's issue? Put it down in the comments below. We'd love to see it. And lastly, we become better men by spending time with good men, and I'm certainly grateful for having spent a few minutes with you today. My name's Charlie King. I'm with Heroic Fatherhood, and this has been the Mentors Moment.